looking for an apartment, but I have horrible credit. Cosigning.com helps you get a cosigner that helps you out to get your dream apartment. Don't let your horrible credit get you down. Cosigning.com has changed the game. I got a cosigner quick and easy. I couldn't have asked for a better service.
Typically I'm not the type of person that just believes all women and believe everything. But in her case, I actually believe these stories. I went through the comments. There are some people that are skeptical, but I just think a lot of people are living in denial. I've personally dealt with a lot of women in the healthcare industry. Some of them I knew they were in the healthcare industry when I started dealing with them. Some of them I found out the hard way after a while. And I'm talking nurses, CNA, home healthcare, traveling nurses. I'm talking anybody in these fields. And I don't know what it is. Honestly, it could be all fields. It's just that a lot of spotlight is on this particular one. And it's a general consensus that if you're dating anybody in the medical industry, they're usually a hoe. They're usually cheating. I know this because I used to work. I used to work in healthcare, so I would meet women, and I would look around, and everyone's a woman. Now you would get to the doctors and the other business owners that were in healthcare like me, except they were all like 20, 25 years older than me, in their like 50s and 60s. Anybody younger than them, it was 100% women. And there would be like a handful of gay dudes, and then there'd just be Rico. Now I played it off as, okay, I'm messing with a lot of these women because I'm like the only guy around. But it turns out there's actually a history of these women being cheaters. And this person right here, she's basically spilling the beans on TikTok to save you. But ultimately, she lost her job doing so. So is it worth it? Kinda. I mean, there had to be another way to do it, but you can tell, she's got her makeup and her hair done, so she wants the attention, but it came at the cost of her job. So I'll let her explain.
When our wife work in the emergency room overnight, chances of them cheating on you is very high. Let me do a quick story time before I clock in. Most doctors and nurses sleep with each other overnight, and they really love the surgeons too. I never knew they had little one-bedroom apartments in hospitals until I started working there.
I only know that because I have an ex that was an executive at the Mayo Clinic. And when I would fly out to Rochester, or I would fly out to a bit of Minnesota, where their campus was, we would sometimes, sneak and go in there. And I'm like, now she's there on contract for a few months. I'm still back in Arizona. And I'm like, what is she doing when I'm not here if they got all these little duck-offs? And even though I was doing my own thing in Arizona, I can't judge her. Bro, I found out she was in there smashing doctors, nurses, the x-ray tech. The other dude she was messing with, she met him. He was like a manager at Walmart, but she met him because he was like a patient there for something. Okay, go ahead.
Every night, there's a nurse being caught sleeping with a doctor, and they don't get in trouble either. And to make matters worse, majority of them is married. And if it's usually the doctors that's married, but the little young nurses that come in with their tight scrubs on, they be sleeping with y'all husband. The nurses even be sleeping with the housekeepers, but the doctors don't touch the housekeepers because that gets they too good for all that. So if your husband or your wife work in the emergency room overnight, you might want to check those emails and text messages because they be in there up to no fucking good. And if your wife wear the tightest scrub she can find on the rack every night to work, she's definitely cheating with a doctor. Stay vigilant.
Listen. If you're a guy, right? If you're a guy and that you're not a
I
doctor.
wasn't expecting my last video to blow up like it did.
Oh yeah. This is like when she gets fired. Let me go to her page. She got a lot of views, so she got what she wanted, but yeah, they gave her, I guess, like a cease and desist because she was spending a lot of time telling people business. Let me see.
If your husband or wife work in the emergency room,
No, not that one. Let me see here.
the only people mad at me is cheating husbands and wives, the ones that backdoor their spouse every chance they get. Once you start doing inappropriate things at work, it's no longer your business. It's everyone's business. I can't believe there's a group of cheaters in my inbox and in my comments threatening me. And y'all keep saying I should have minded my business. Y'all always say mind y'all business until it's y'all. And the thing that did it for me is when it was Caitlin's birthday, her husband got her edible arrangements, flowers, chocolate delivered to work, all while she's in a one-bedroom apartment doing Lord knows what with a doctor. Stop.
All right. This becomes more than just a PSA trying to help somebody who now you're being specific. Apparently, there's a woman. Now, obviously, you can tell that this woman is single. You can look at her hands and see that she's a little older. She doesn't have a ring on that ring finger. So that means she's single. One thing about women that I've learned is they always want what another woman has. It doesn't matter if she's married, happy. It doesn't matter if she's with the richest man on earth. When she sees another woman with a man, she wants him too. This woman right here doesn't have a distraction in her personal life in the afternoons when she gets off of work. So all she has is work. And unfortunately, when you're these women and you're young and you're cute, you play the field and you think you have more options than you do. And you think the grass will always be green forever. But winter is coming. For most of you women, winter starts when you turn 26. After you turn 26, the odds of you getting married drop by 50%. And it drops every year until you expire. It's, you guys will see a 1 in a billion celebrity rich woman get married in her 30s or 40s. But who is she marrying? An ex-con, a man who just got out of prison, a man with some other issues, major issues. She couldn't get like the kind of man she wants. So she takes whatever man she can get, the kind of man that she was rejecting just 10 years before. This is an example of one of those women when you're not a celebrity, you're just a regular woman. It seems like a lot of her issues come from jealousy and envy. Men who are dating women or men who are married to women who work in the medical field, I would assume most of them know that we're men, right? We know our women. We know women want to fuck doctors. We know women want to smash successful surgeons or men who got stuff. Personally, I make sure I work hard so I can be a man of means because I want to be able to smash who I want to smash too. That's the whole purpose of me going to work every day and making sure I do stuff. It's because I want to have my pick of women. That's why I haven't got married. That's why I'm the single boyfriend. Yeah, we're together when we're together. But when we're not together, you're single, you do what you want to do. I can meet and do what I want to do. Personally, I like the women I'm dating to all meet each other. And we all hang out. I don't believe in sneaking around. I really don't. You know what it is? Gas is expensive. If I'm driving from one place to meet one person, then to another place to meet somebody else after, logistically, it's a nightmare. We're better off just all meeting at one place, hanging out together. You don't need to worry about who's calling me. You don't got to worry about going through my phone. You and her can just talk to each other. And I only date girls who like girls. So I'm looking forward to you guys smashing each other because if you do like other women, obviously, I'm going to meet a woman who looks good. So y'all can both mess with each other and me as well. You don't have to go and look for somebody else. There's no point of even being mad at me and breaking up with me. The next man's not going to be any better. I can offer you honesty at least. At least I can offer you the option to come into it. If I have somebody over and we're partying and you call me, I don't got to ignore your call. I can let you come over. Another person is not. But when you reject that offer, thinking that a better offer is going to come along, it's years that you're waiting. And not to say that this woman becomes that, but this is what ends up waiting for you. You're watching another woman get an edible arrangement, a woman who I'm sure her husband knows she ain't shit. I'm sure her husband probably has his own secret life on the side too. However, we know that sex isn't everything. Your husband is cheating with another woman. More than likely, it's going to be temporary. Your wife has a work husband or a doctor at work she's smashing. Most men, a lot of men nowadays, they understand the truth about women. We know they're hoes. We know how they really are. But you got to ask yourself, what's more important? Having a family or, making sure my woman doesn't do anything behind my back forever? That's not realistic. Are you willing to break up your family because your wife wants to get smashed every now and again by somebody who she doesn't love? She's not about to break up with you and be with. He don't want to be with her either. She has her fantasy. You have yours. And if this temporary affair is going to keep your family together longer, because what's the point of breaking up with your wife and going to get another woman? You think the other woman is not going to want to fuck a doctor too? Of course she is. Even if you're a doctor yourself, she still might want to go out and mess with another doctor or some. These are women we're talking about. They're not robots. They're emotional. They do what they want to do, either with you or without you. So this woman is interjecting herself, and she's in a way trying to alert this woman's husband that her wife is getting smacked up and down by different doctors. You think the husband doesn't know? Or do you think he cares? Do you think he's going to leave? That's one question that nowadays I ask myself. And that's why I stay out of people's relationships, because I used to have my relationship advice, right? Because now I'm doing like relationship advice for people. And the only reason why people think that I'm a dating coach and they ask me for advice and they come to me is because when most people meet me, I have 3 or 4 of my girlfriends with me at all times. I'm always with multiple women. I've been living this lifestyle for many years. A lot of people are out here dating my ex-women, my ex-girlfriends, and they don't realize this woman used to be in a group relationship with me and 5 of the girls. But that's why you like her. Problem is, she doesn't like you because she's used to having an abundance, drinking, partying, all kinds of wild sex. People ask me, Rico, does it ever get old? What? Does what ever get old? Having fun? No, Karen. It never gets old. You know what would get old? Being bored. Sitting there with the same one person, eating bullshit junk food and watching fucking Netflix until we die. I'll pass. I'll be honest. I'm not even a booty call type of guy. I really don't cuddle. We're either going to get it in or we're getting it out. We're not doing all the lovey-dovey stuff because it's for what? We can love each other. We can be the best of friends, but we live in the future now. We live in the information age. Everybody knows what everybody else is really doing because you really can't point it line. One thing I've learned is that even when you have a group of women, there's no such thing as a happy woman forever. They are happy at the moment. The next day, they could want something different. The day after, they want their old thing back. So they might be with you in your group, and then eventually she might creep over to her ex who's been begging her and crying about how he's not going to want her to have sex with women. He's going to want her all to himself, and he's going to marry her. He lies. She goes over there. She leaves me for a month or 2, deals with him, figures out he's lying, runs back. I could be an asshole and be like, you can't come back, stay gone, but then I would have to care about what she's doing and care about her. I have other women to worry about. I can't worry about what you're doing per se. That's your business. but you don't get the same privileges and the same access. And, I'll let you know when we're available and when we want company, but you can't just come get back in, because that's just a personality defect. You're going to be drifting between men until men don't want you anymore. And by that time, I'm not going to want you anymore. The moral of the story is, don't end up like her, because I'm not trying to say, I think it's entertaining. I like people telling other people's business. I tell my own damn business because it is entertaining. But in her situation, she doesn't have her own business and her own life to talk about, so she has no choice but to talk about somebody else's personal stuff. But I'm not saying she's lying. It is true. And men know.
Marrying people and wasting their time. Stop going to work inappropriate things, and you won't have to worry about somebody like me that will air everything out. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you don't want to be married, get a divorce and live your life. Stop.
That's also, again, like I was saying, I used to give people advice. I used to tell girls, like, look, if there's something you don't like about the man, leave. Don't complain, change. But don't change him, change the person you're dealing with. I've now come to realize that's poor advice, horrible advice. I had my ex-girlfriend, bad bitch, back in LA. And I haven't seen her in a few years. And she hits me up on Instagram, and she's telling me, she wants to come visit me. And, she's seen some of the girls on my Instagram, the single, on my private page. That's like private. She's seen some of the girls that I'm with, and she's like, oh, she misses that. Now that she's not with her dude no more, she magically misses all the wild shit, all the fun or whatever. She got upset with me because my advice was go get your man back. Go get him back. Because she would tell me little things he would do and all that stuff. I'm not doing any of that. That's just not at all. There's no, you're not going to find anything better. I'll be honest, as the days go by deeper into the future, there's less and less desire for men to even get into an actual relationship where he has to hold your hand and introduce you to his family and friends. We've seen too many times where we've done that and you've embarrassed us. You're embarrassing. That's just it. You're embarrassing. You're embarrassing, bro. Men, for us to take you to our mother's house and say, Mom, I love her, and then it doesn't work out with you because you have a bad attitude or you're lazy or you complain a lot, or again, social media ruins the mind of a woman. Women live in the clouds as is. Men, all the responsibilities of life fall on us. So we have to be grounded because we have to get up and go to work the next day. We have bills to pay. Women, depending on how pretty they are, can couch surf indefinitely. Depending on how good you look, there will be a man somewhere that no matter what you've done in your past will open up his door and temporarily open his bed, which is under his roof, for you to come stay in temporarily. So yeah, if you're a woman and you do OnlyFans, or if you do porn, or you're an escort, if you hit hard times, there's always somebody that will save you. Sure, they're not going to marry you. Sure, they're not going to trust you fully. And sure, they're eventually going to be like, I can't believe I'm actually leaving this woman at my house alone while I'm at work for 7 hours. She's probably bringing dudes over there and having sex in my bed. She's probably sneaking out and messing with somebody and coming back to my house. The thoughts of that alone drive men crazy. But it's true. She is likely doing it. Bro, I'll be honest. It's a good thing that a lot of my friends don't watch my content, but my barber, one of my best friends, he had he had this one chick, real pretty, light skinned, little bad chick. And he's dealing with her. But every 2 days, he's blowing his temper, going crazy, screaming and yelling at this woman. And I'm like, bro, what's wrong? Like, this isn't like you. I've never known you to be an angry person. But it's just that, he knew that something was going on. He just couldn't prove it. And one day he brings her to Club Rico. He brings her to my house. She's with her cousin. And I got a chick with me or whatever. And, anyway, my chick and her cousin are hitting it off, 2 chicks. And then she's over there, but she's gay also. She wants to come over and be in the conversation with the 2 girls and me. But she can't because he's here. And she knows he's not with all the group sex and the threesomes and the girl on girl. I'll be honest, most men are conservative. Even if they pretend that they're Democrats and vote liberal, unless he's gay, he's a conservative. He just pretends to be a Democrat. We call them dinos, a Democrat in name only. And anyway, he got frustrated because he noticed that she kept looking and wanting to come over there and talk to us because we had our own little circle, our little conversations going on while him and her were playing pool. So he got mad. He was like, you know what? I'm out of here, bro. I'm going to just, but he was trying to be a player about it. He said, I'm just going to leave her here with you. What? What? Why would you leave her here with me? What? I don't want her here with me. I'm already entertained by her cousin and my little friend. Like, why would you leave her here? Anyway, he leaves her. And she's like talking to me and telling me how she likes to do her own thing. And they're not really in a relationship and they're friends. And she got guys. And she's literally telling me all this shit. And I'm like, she wants me to know that if me and her end up fucking, or she ends up, because she likes girls and we all end up doing it, whatever, she's not going to tell him and she don't want me to tell him. That's what she's basically in a roundabout way doing, is letting me know she keeps a secret. If he was my accountant or if he was my car wash guy, that'd be different. He's my barber. There's no way I'm ruining that relationship. That relationship is more important to me than any relationship I can think of, even a marriage, because women come and go, but your barber is your barber until one of y'all move or one of y'all die. So I had to keep that one good. And I turned it down. But the thing is, if everything she's telling me and what she was trying to do with me, she's like that every day. So I see him a few days later. At the bar we hang out, this little dive bar. I walk in, I'm like, oh, what's up? Talking to him. And I'm like, where's old girl? She walks in right after me. And she's like, oh, how do I do this? Because she didn't know how to drive his car, or she didn't know how to like do something in his car. And I'm like, is she parking your car? He's like, no, I'm gonna let her, she's using it. Turns out she was using it to go drive to go see some dude. And he found that out later and they had a big, huge blowout. But again, bro, what did you expect? This is what happens. This is how it goes. So leaving the person you're with, it's not like the next person's going to be any better. The best that's going to happen is you learn to get a little bit more blinder. You blind yourself. Like, you just learn how to pretend you don't see certain things. If you see a name on her phone when somebody calls, pretend that you don't. If you hear a woman's voice when he answers the phone in the other room, pretend that you didn't hear it. Or don't even get into a relationship anymore. Just be friends. So that's why I'm the single boyfriend. Again, I'm your boyfriend because we're smashing and we're hanging out and we're having a good time all the time. But you're single. I'm single. We're not in a relationship. We're friends. I'm really just a friend to you. I'm a good friend. When you meet somebody else, I cannot be mad. I'm like, congratulations to you and him. But I know men and women. These women's standards are way too high. And the the ability to lie for men is way too easy. The problem is because we're in the age of the information, like I said, it's hard to keep up a lie nowadays. So the rented car, the rented house, the fake jewelry, the fake, once the facade wears off, which is typically less than 2 weeks now because of the age of social media, because women can find you or find people that know you online and they'll really be able to do their pedigree. There's only certain men that are actually, single, not living with somebody, got their own stuff and available where you can actually go to their house after the club. Like I said, if you don't have a house that's in a convenient location to where the party is, that women can come over and party after, you're in trouble. I live above the club. Where I live at in LA, the club is in my building downstairs on level 1. So I can take the elevator to my apartment. And that's how convenient it is for me and your chick to see each other. I don't live in Moreno Valley. I don't live in San Bernardino, Riverside, but I met you in LA. And now I got to have you drive an hour. I don't live in Pearland, but we are at a club in the Galleria in Houston. No. I live in the Gala. So we're 5 minutes from the crib. I'm having the after party. You know what that is, so it's about convenience as well. Again, but it just comes back to, it doesn't get better. She's speaking as a woman who has not learned any of this. You haven't even made it to get a husband yet, but you're giving people advice on how to be married. How would you know? How would you know? You don't know what these people, if they've already went through this before and they just accepted this about each other and they just turn the other cheek. Eventually, they're both going to turn 50 and 60 and 70. And then there'll be less people that they're going to be dealing with. But it never completely just stops, because men don't just turn gay all of a sudden and their dick stops working when they see other women. That's never going to happen. Fighting the urge is pointless because you're not that good of a fighter. You can't run from vagina because you're not that fast. It's going to eventually catch you. So that's just my main issue with what she has to say. But I want to hear the rest of it, though.
Wasting people's time. Stop belittling your spouse when you think they won't find out. Stop being sneaky and keep it 100. The only people mad at me.
Keep it at 100, baby. Keep it 100 with who? With you? You're not involved in their relationship. So this is her, and I can't feel bad, but.
Sorry for the late response, everyone. I needed time to process everything, take it in, and most importantly, speak to my attorney. They did let me go. They let me go because they said I have a large following, and they did not want someone from the outside to come in and notice me and obviously know that this is the hospital that I'm talking about.
Beautiful. Amazing. Good job on the human resources and the hospital staff. For one thing, it's dangerous to hire women, especially Black women, because they can always bring up racism and sexism if you do want to fire them. So a company has to consider that when they hire you in the first place. It's just like, would you hire a person who had an eviction on their credit? No, because you know that they have a history and eventually they can just, probably not want to pay your rent and then they expect housing still. Certain women, they think that it's the end of the world if they get fired, and then they'll blame everything but their performance and their behavior. She's actually going to do that. I did see this video. The other ones I didn't see first. But they had to do that because they're right. At least they gave her a good reason. What if somebody from the outside comes in and you're a celebrity now? You got how many hundreds of followers or thousands of followers on TikTok? And let's be honest, this is TikTok. These followers aren't real. Most of these are bots. Even the ones that talk with a little slang, and there's a lot of these. This is TikTok. A lot of these people are fake. They're bots. A lot of these women, I've met women, and I'm actually do some videos about that told me they broke up with their husbands or they left their boyfriend because they thought, because of TikTok, that they had more options waiting for them on the outside. None of those accounts were real. None of those accounts actually showed up to take care of her, give her money, pay her bills, move in with her, be her man. None of them. But while she was in a relationship, they were all just telling her to leave him. But in her case, it's still a risk. I know a lot of these accounts are fake. They're not actual real people, but they seem like real people because AI is actually really good at manipulating certain people to think that there's more value to them and there's more of a demand for them than there actually is. There really isn't. But she proves that to you because you keep seeing these women over months and years on the internet and they're always single. So that means that nothing's working out for them. Not even the bots or the men who beg on the internet to give them a chance. She gives them, they don't let them lie to you. They give them chances, but they're just the fact that this man is online begging you for a chance means that he can't keep a woman in his life for a certain reason anyway. You know, my advice to women is if you want a good man, you're going to have to take him from his current situation. Good men aren't just floating around. Look at me. I'm not even saying I'm like a perfect guy, but it's not like you're going to meet me and I'm single. I literally walk around with a wedding band on. You approach me, you talk to me, you're going to see this. I mean, you're going to act like you can pretend like you don't see it and you can just not ask about it, but it's there. If you want to talk to me, you're going to have to basically talk to me with whoever I'm with. You're waiting in line. There's no direct access. Why would there be? That wouldn't make any sense. The numbers don't make any sense for a man to be lonely and for a woman to be taken. These women are available. There's just nobody for them right now. And there is nobody coming. There's less and less men available every day. A lot of men are going gay. A lot of men are going to jail. And the rest that are still here, it just doesn't make sense to be with one woman when you can be with all of them.
They also told me if I released any names that I would be sued. Obviously, they seen my video before my meeting. I have so many followers. I lost track of everyone that's following me. I noticed the nurses was following me about 4 months ago, but I did not pay much attention to that or really didn't care.
A lot of these nurses, the only reason they're in relationships or they get married, even though the men that they're marrying know that they cheat, know that they have sex with the doctors, and know that they are in these hospitals getting smacked up by coworkers, is because, let's be honest, a lot of men are shallow. If she looks good enough, you won't care. You'll turn the other cheek. You'll marry her because she's beautiful, regardless of her character, because that's how, unfortunately, men are. Men are not worried about how much she makes. They're not worried if she's a good person. She can cook or clean. That's why a lot of these men are complaining and unhappy after the marriage. But she's not a different woman now than she was when you met her. She was always like that. You just ignored it because she's pretty. Now she's pregnant and pretty. You want a pretty baby mom. You want a pretty wife to look good in a dress. Yeah, she had sex with the best man right before the wedding. Yeah, she's messing with this dude and the ex and all this. I know some women that are beautiful as hell, got a husband, and out here every weekend smashing. I mean, just having the time of their life. And I'm like, where's your husband? And then I realize he's that short guy that she would never give a chance. And one day he begs her and he says, look, I don't care what you do. Just be my wife. You can have your fun. Just be my wife. Have my kids. I'm going to take care of you. Because he's so in love with the beauty. The rest of it is kind of just optional. And he's just hoping eventually she's going to just get tired of new dick and just want his and come home. But it's going to take a long time for that to happen because women like a challenge. And that's a challenge. I'm gonna just wait for you. She's like, you gonna wait? You think you can wait me out? Wait and see. Incredible. And this woman, like I said, alone. I know a girl that looked just like her too. Same color eyes, same face shape. You know, I used to deal with her. A secret evil deep down inside her that only comes out every now and again. You know, these women have their ways, and that's why a lot of men, we know this because we got the internet. You can find a woman who looks like the woman you're dating, right? You can find one that looks just like her, same background, that's younger, and you can see how she is. If you want to see where you're going, you can just you can find somebody that looks just like your woman, her background, who's 10 years older, and see how she turns out. And you can compare notes and you can see, okay, so this is where this woman is going. And you can know what they're going to look like, what kind of problems they're going to have, the kind of things that they say about their husband 10 years from now. She's going to be saying it about you. Men think about this. Men calculate this. And we decide not to deal with it. That's just what we decide.
I've been receiving a lot of threats in my inbox calling me.
I don't believe nobody's threatening to do nothing to her, bro. I think everybody lies about that. Everybody talks about getting death threats. People lie a lot. I heard people talk, like for me, right? If somebody sent me a death threat that says, "Excuse me, Rico, hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, good." They're like, "Yeah, I'm going to kill you." I would literally screenshot that death threat with that person's name, and I would just post all of the death threats. That's what anybody would do who gets death threats. They'd screenshot them and post them. Hey, look, somebody just sent me a death threat. Now it's public. They never do that because a lot of it's in their mind. It's not real. Like when I meet people that I used to go to high school with, and they would be like, "Yeah, remember that teacher we had told me I wasn't going to be shit?" And I'm like, "Wait, what teacher?" I'm like, "Nah, they didn't tell you that. They asked you to come read something off the board out loud and you stormed out of class. They never said that you were never going to be shit. You said that. They didn't say that." And people make up these stories in their head, but they're lying. It's not true. And I think she's one of them.
Snitches saying they're happy I lost my job and I should have minded my business. Well, they made it my business when they brought it to the workplace. If they didn't bring it to work, it would not be my business. As far as them letting me go, I really don't care. I'm not a nurse, so I did not lose my license or anything like that. They just simply let me go. I did speak to my attorney, and I do have a case, so I'll be moving forward with that. It's just exhausting being at work all night.
I'll be honest, she has zero case. They have an extreme cause to fire you. You cannot risk disclosing private information of your employer or your fellow employees when you're on the internet giving commentary about what's going on at work. You cannot do that. And you work in the hospital. There's HIPAA laws. There's different types of restrictions on talking about sensitive matters and people. She did say a name. That's how you knew. She knows she should not be doing this. But there's one person in particular, what's her name? Caitlin, who triggered her because Caitlin has a husband and she don't. And Caitlin's probably an overweight white woman that works at one of the front desks. And her husband's a black dude that this woman finds attractive that would never look at her. And he brought her in an edible arrangement, and that just sent this woman over the edge because the last 5 dudes she had sex with over the last 10 years would not deliver her a Snickers bar to the job. They want nothing to do with her. Actually, if you think about it, because I know a lot of women like her, the men that they choose to deal with are literally men who are cheating on other women. So they sweet talk a lot because they have to go above and beyond to get sex because they're already involved. So, you know, when you're a man and you're involved with a woman in a relationship that's serious and they don't know that you still cheat, you can't bring them to your house. You can't talk most of the day. There's a lot of you're unavailable on the weekends because you're with your significant other. So you got to have a lot of game to keep women like this around. So you got to make them a lot of promises, and but you can't ever act on them. So, and you have to excuse like, "Oh yeah, I got a hotel room for us," but then it's 2:00 in the morning. Y'all had sex, and now he has to leave, and you're in the hotel room all by yourself until checkout at 11. And what are you doing? You're just sitting there, eating the leftovers from dinner and watching TV. You could have just did that at home. And then you realize you're really just you're hoeing just like one of the nurses at the job. It's no different. Instead of you cheating on your man, you're dealing with a man who's cheating on his woman. It's pretty much all the same. We're in 2025 now. Everybody's doing something and cheating, even the ones who pretend that they're not. They might temporarily not be doing anything when they're on the internet judging other people. But when push comes to shove, and they're out at a party or they're with their friends on the weekend, bro, you know how many of them I end up bumping into, and they sneak They'll be with their friends. They'll all come back to my crib. We party. They're like, oh, we all leaving together. I'm like, I'll take her home. They're like, no. We're all going to leave. We're all staying together. We come together, we leave together. I said, okay, cool. Goodbye. 15 minutes later, I get a text with an address. Send me an Uber. And they pretend they're about to go to bed and they just double back over here to my house. Especially if I got another woman here. They're not giving up a chance to have sex with a woman. They're not, because it's very rare that even happens for a woman where they can have access to a woman and it's not going to be overly gay or some weird shit. You don't got to be Ellen DeGeneres. You don't got to put on a blazer. You know, you can just sneak and get something real quick. Actually, that was my night on Saturday. I had if anybody was watching my social media, that was it. Oh my God. Yeah, we were at a these were some chicks that I met at a healthcare conference. Oh man, bro. The title of this video is, are people in healthcare to be trusted, and do they cheat the most? And the answer is yes. It is. For one thing, women that work in healthcare make good money. So, for many years in life, women thought the only thing they needed a man for was money. Then they get money, and then they lose all respect for men. And they're like, I don't even need you. I don't need you. I got money. Yeah, that's not enough. Life is about more than just how much money you have or don't have, So yeah, you have your own money, but you're lonely. It's rough being lonely and being single as a woman. Like, you think you could be like a man, we got video games, we got all kinds of distractions. And then also we can get married in one day if we meet a woman that we like. Women don't have that option. Like, I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to do a vlog one day, right? And I'm going to walk into a mall or to a store and I'm going to ask a woman just rant. I'm going to let my chat and I'm going to let the group just say, look, you guys pick out the woman. I'm going to walk over to her, talk to her. And I bet you I could get her to marry me tomorrow. A random pretty woman, even if she's single, I bet you I could get her to go to get married to me in one day. There's not a woman alive, not even Nicki Minaj, not any women alive with money that could do that. No, they don't have that option. But it's a social experiment. I'm gonna prove that I could get married. I'll probably be able to have 10 different women show up in one day to get married. And honestly, that'll be the closest, no matter how good they look or don't look, depending on their ethnic background, that'll be the closest that they'll ever actually get to being married. Because unfortunately, because of the laws and how American culture is right now, marriages are over. Families are over. A lot of that, people will have kids with each other, but that's how you know the kid was a mistake, because they only had one with the person. The man wasn't even willing to give you 2 kids. The way you know a man loves you and wanted to have children with you is because he gave you more than one. Nobody thinks an only child is cool. I remember growing up, if I met a dude that was an only child, he was the weirdest fucking guy, the creepiest guy. Everyone knows that. It's really unnatural to talk to or hang out with a person who's an only child. They have a lot of issues, whether it's positive or negative. There's a lot of different issues that they have. So no one really wants to deal with men. So no one wants to deal with somebody who was a single child. So that means nobody's purposely a parent with only one child, unless the person that got them pregnant did it on accident in the first place. So, you don't, that's a really good indicator that it was a mistake. But again, I can have 10 different, I'm going to do an experiment probably in a few months, and we're going to document it all, and I'll see who's going to show up the next day. And I'm not going to just be mean or nothing. I'll give everybody some money for showing up. I'm not going to tell them about any money up front, but it'll be like a little, you get a prize for being here the next day. And I bet you out of all 10 women that I get to show up for the marriage, even though we don't get married, I give them like a little consolation prize. I bet you out of 10, I bet you at least at least 7 still text me, want to date me, and want to still fuck with me. And this is before we even have sex or anything. I bet you they still want to deal with me, even after the letdown of us not getting married. Men are the prize because it comes down to the man anyway. So this whole prize situation, this is not even a contest. That's why a lot of men don't even involve ourselves in these contests. But like I said, I watched this woman. She's actually every woman, unless but she was honest. She said, unless you're in the situation, you're going to be like me. But the other women who are guilty of cheating and sneaking around, they hate me. So that means if you're in that kind of situation, you'll be mad at a woman like her, because you got to think about it. What's the alternative? I can be a rich man's, or I can be not even rich. I can just be a man's side chick, or I can be nothing to nobody. You got all that good vagina. You think you're pretty. You think you have a good personality. You're a good person. You have all these traits as far as you're concerned, or as far as other women tell you. If you're so good, why is it all just going to waste and not being used for anybody? They always tell you that the value is determined by the customer. As men, we're the customer. We determine y'all value, not you. You don't determine your own value. We determine your value. So, I mean, it's just funny how some of these things come up. I'm gonna let her, but yeah, they fired her.
Watching husbands and wives cheat. Don't nobody want to see that. Keep it at home if that's what you want to do, or simply leave your union and go out and cheat all day. It's simple.
You know what I can tell by how she's talking is that she's had this conversation with a man. She was a side chick. She didn't know it. She found out because she did some detective work. But you're supposed to do detective work before the sex, not 6 months after this nigga done blew your back out every way from Tuesday. And he kind of is already tired of smashing you. He's drifting away. So now you want to become a detective, figure out what he's doing. And then, now she's told somebody you should have left your union if you want to be with me. And he's probably just sitting there like, yeah. He's already moved on. He got another little chick that looks like you, just 5 years, 10 years younger. He's not worried about you. And she's had this conversation with somebody, but now she's having it with the internet because, well, in real life, nobody cares to hear it. Nobody pays attention to her. There is no man that's letting her berate him in real life. They would just walk away and get a new woman. There's women everywhere, and there's like 6 dudes. I'm gonna do another video about these dating events. I actually went to one and I made some videos. I went to one here in Houston, and it was a bunch of women who were still pretending like men should walk. It was about 120 women in this room. I walk up to the bar. I'm expecting, it's only 7 dudes in there. I'm expecting women to walk over to me and be like, and fighting over like, who's going to buy me a drink first? Do you know all these women, over 100 of them are sitting around the room, standing around, still waiting on one man to come. There's 7 men in here. You guys are waiting for a man to walk up to you and offer to buy you. Do you not understand what it means to compete? You have to make yourself stand out. And these are the type of women that leave these events and make a video on TikTok talking about how they went horrible because you're dumb. You should have been in there prepared and ready to compete. You weren't. So you ended up with nothing. Life's a competition. You're going to be competing for things for the rest of your life, for jobs, for love, for attention. It's a competition. You got all dressed up to come to this event because you knew you had to compete with women, but you came in there dressed to only impress other women. You weren't even trying to impress a man, even though you're supposed to be there for the men. And one chick walked up to me and eventually asked me to buy me a drink, whatever, but she was white. And all the black women and Spanish women in there literally stared at me and gave me dirty looks. But they weren't looking until that white woman walked up to me, bought me a drink, and they seen me and her laughing. They lost. She won. And the prize was some dick. But, she didn't live in Houston. And I'll be honest, she was probably likely cheating on some guy, some nice guy, has a good job, wears glasses, lives where she lives in San Antonio, whatever, and she's cheating. You can't even judge women no more for cheating. I mean, it happens so often. It'd be ridiculous to even judge, but she's judging. So that's her problem.
I'm not tripping on nothing. It is what it is. I was just telling y'all what goes on behind closed doors. I mean, take it or leave it. I have nothing to lose. Sorry for the late response.
And you know what, lady, look, I'm not saying to be nitpicky, but you got to get the food stains off your shirt if you're going to do all your makeup and do a presentation. Again, life's a competition. You know, if you're going to be out here competing with women that are half your age for the same successful men, then you're going to have to look the part. You have no choice. Let me see here. Oh, they said they're gonna fire her.
I wasn't expecting my last video to blow up like it did. If your husband or wife work in the emergency room overnight, chances of them cheating on you is very high. Let me do a quick story. One of the 3 nurses that's following me, and I'm almost sure it was Kate. Let me hold that thought until after my meeting at 3 o'clock. Let me do a quick little story time. One of them decided to send my video to HR, and my manager called me this morning demanding me to remove my video. I told her absolutely not. I did not disclose any names or locations, so why would I do that?
And again, this is why you cannot feel sorry for this woman getting canned. You cannot feel sorry for her. For one thing, if I tell you to do something and you tell me no, you're not going to do it, but I'm your superior, that's called insubordination. Whether you're at work or whether you're at home, nobody better ever tolerate insubordination. If I'm your man and I tell you to do something and you argue with me about doing it, it's insubordination. Now you're single. Now you don't got to do nothing I tell you. Now you can get the fuck out. And that's exactly the stance that this job took with her, this hospital she works at. So I commend them. Never tolerate insubordination, ever.
Got a meeting at 3 o'clock. I'm here to tell them if they fire me or suspend me, I will be dropping first and last names.
You don't fucking threaten me either. You don't threaten your job. If, for one thing, the relationship between employer and employee is severed once you think you have leverage over me, for one thing, that means you won't work anymore. You won't be a professional anymore. If I let you get away with this, you're going to think you can get away with anything you want because I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of your threats. So there's nothing I can say to you because you can always repeat the same threat to me. This doesn't work in relationships, and this does not definitely not going to work in the workplace. They did in a hell of whoever the HR person that fired the hell out of this woman should be fucking promoted. Because if you let somebody scare you into submission and threaten to do something to you, and that's the only way they can get you to comply with whatever bullshit they're doing, that is fail. That's fail. You're setting yourself up for failure. Never, ever let a person, hey, she's skating on thin. She was on thin ice, and guess what? The ice broke.
Because ain't no way I got a meeting because I'm spreading awareness to the faithful husbands and wives out here that's not cheating.
You don't fucking know what's going on in those relationships. You don't know if their husband and wives are faithful too. This could be their dynamic. I've been in this situation where this was my dynamic. I just got done talking about a woman I know who's married. Her husband, because she's a beautiful she's beautiful. She's so goddamn fine. And she comes over here and she be like doing these little photo shoots and all that. It's a beautiful chick, but she's so beautiful. Her husband's like, I don't care what you do. As long as you come home to me at night or at least the next day and you're a good mother to my children, you can have your fun. This is their dynamic. For one thing, she told me his background, his people don't really like to have sex. They're not sexual people. He's not a sexual guy. She is. But she wanted to be married. The men that are very sexual in her life did not. I have a high sex drive. I couldn't do it. So she found somebody that low sex drive, but a high desire to be married. She has a high sex drive and a high desire to be married. They were able to connect on the marriage part. Now, she desires a lot of sex. He doesn't. But he doesn't mind her having sex with other people. Then it works. It works out perfectly. Because in a way, it's not really even cheating. Because he knows. I think he knows. I'm pretty sure he knows. We're going to be honest here. Let's be real. He might know, he might not. I met one of her cousins because we were at some event, bumped into each other, ended up going to my car to smash. Her keys fall out of her pants in my back seat. So I get home and she's like, oh, I left my keys in your car. I'm like, how? I checked it. Lo and behold, there go her keys. So I drive back to the venue, but her cousins and them were there with her, and we snuck out. Her cousin, they blocked my car from pulling up to where her car is. And they're like, oh, we'll take the key, Rico. Don't worry about it. I'm like, why? I can give a key to her. She's right up. But there was a dude over there with her. I'm like, who is this? Who's this guy? And he's kind of looking, but I got tinted windows, so he's looking to see who's in the truck. And I'm like, oh, shit. I threw the key at the cousin and skirt. So maybe he does care sometimes, but there's no way you're letting your wife get dolled up, dressed up, hair looking like that on a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, all day parties, and you're not knowing that somebody is knocking that out. But again, he's not a sexual guy. She said if it's up to him, they'll have sex once every 2 months. I hear that a lot from women. There's a lot of men that are like that. Sex is not really their thing. They're more into the intimacy and they want the family. And they think, I guess, sex is for reproducing. They don't believe in the whole, they're not like Rico where it's just for recreation. This is for recreational use only for the most part. I'm not trying to breed everybody, But yeah, so like I said, she's very presumptuous to assume that that's everybody's dynamic just because it's not. You can't say that these other people aren't cheating because the person at their job is cheating. You don't know their life. You don't know what's going on with them at home. So this is where she messed up in this whole situation. This is where she fucked up.
I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say on my page. They cannot take that away. This is something I experienced working there. So what? Why can't I talk about it? I wasn't.
No, you can do whatever you want. You can talk about whatever you want. You just won't be able to talk about it while you work here. Do me a favor. This is a new page. The single boyfriend on YouTube, the single boyfriend on Instagram. And the single boyfriend on X. So follow the page. I got more when it comes to this kind of content because I usually do right-wing conservative politics. That's my specialty. I do updates on everything in the political world, but I get a lot of requests for all the relationship stuff because of my unique situation with my different girlfriends and how my lifestyle is. People think because I'm a conservative that my lifestyle, and I'm like, this is the ultimate conservative lifestyle. To be conservative just means to be traditional. It doesn't get much more traditional than a man who likes having sex with women. Literally all of human civilization boils down to that. That's pretty much the most traditional thing you can do. Even marriage is not as traditional as heterosexual sex. Marriage was an institution that came after. The first things that were there were men and women having sex and men being with women. Plural, not singular. That's all new. So, but as far as relationships and red pill stuff, this is pretty much, I talked to people about this in person. I never really did content a lot because I used to throw these events back in LA called Meeting Minds, and we would have this huge event, hundreds of people. We have people with microphones and we talk, we ask questions, kind of like how they're doing on the internet, Instagram and stuff now. We were doing that 10 years ago in LA, these huge events, and we could have kept going. But I accidentally ended up sleeping with one of the other guys who I was doing the event with, his girlfriend, because I didn't know that was his girlfriend. He never introduced her to me. Also, the girls that were with me met her. I don't know. I come home. She's in there with them naked in my jacuzzi. I jump in. I don't know that's. And then the next day he finds out. He calls an emergency meeting. because his girl got smacked up at Club Rico after the event. The event went great, but it was the outside the event part that he was upset about, and he couldn't get over it. So we could have kept going. We should have kept going. But I'm like, you know what? I'll do my own material. I'll bring guests on. I'll just talk to people. So, you know, I try to make it as entertaining as possible. Like I said, talking about relationship stuff, talking about, you know, cheating, lying, and sneaking around and seeing what people think. And the good thing is we got the internet now. So there's like billions of women like her that get online and talk about, you know, all the stuff other people are doing. They don't really want to talk about themselves, but I kind of like it. But, you know, when talking about other people, they're also disclosing stuff about themselves, you know, and their envy and jealousy of other people.
The only people mad at me is cheating husbands and wives, the ones that backdoor their spouse every chance they get. Once you start doing inappropriate things at work, it's no longer your business. It's everyone's business. I can't believe there's a group of cheaters in my inbox and in my comments threatening me. And y'all keep saying I should have minded my business. Y'all always say mind your business until it's y'all. And
lady, there's nobody threatening you. And I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't tell you to mind your own business. I would just tell you to get you some business. See, when you have your own stuff going on, you're not necessarily worried about other people. You're not, because you have a man and you got to worry about what he's doing when you're not around. And you're usually so focused on that what other people is doing is of little concern, because you don't have the bandwidth to worry about everybody else plus yourself. So you got a little bit too much time on your hands, auntie. And she do look like this lady I used to know back in California. She like a lot of women, had green eyes, little hair, you know, but her accent says Baltimore. And that's an annoying ass accent. It's like, you know, I just couldn't deal with it personally. Maybe for a night, but not during the day. Definitely not. But yeah, dude, like I said, I make a lot of content like this, so you can share these videos and leave comments. But a lot of people aren't going to leave comments because they're cheating on somebody too, or they're involved with somebody who they know is cheating on somebody with them. It's very rare that somebody's going to be open about it like myself, and it's not really cheating because you know my girl. You know both my girlfriends. You're actually my other girlfriend, and you guys all know each other. That's a very unique situation. That's my niche. Because, like, again, I wear a wedding band even though I'm not married. I know dudes that they are married, they can't wear this when they're not with their wife. I'm the opposite. It's a completely different universe I live in now. It's a completely different lane. So that separates, you know, me from them. So we have different priorities and we get different results. You know, anybody who knows me knows I have the results. And I mean, I can advertise the results more. I probably should have been doing this and making this type of material. I'm just so self-absorbed and preoccupied with my life that I never get around to doing this, or I'm usually drunk and I'm partying, but I'm like, maybe I should just keep track of more of this. But I do. I mean, I post constantly on social media. If you follow my Instagram pages, you'll see, especially my personal page, it gets a little spicy. It's kind of wild or whatever. My Snap, you know, just different stuff, you know? So it just depends on where you follow me at. But I'll make more material. Like, share, subscribe. I'm actually gonna start doing a poll where I'm asking a question, and then if you like it, then you answer the poll, and then you like the video, and then you can share it. You know, just you never know. But there'll be some other relationship topics. I'll probably be back on in maybe about an hour or so. I gotta go walk my dogs, and then I'll be back, and then we'll come over some other stuff. All right, cheers, and follow the single boyfriend. I'm Rico, and I'll talk to you guys.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.